Hey, what's up, guys? This is Nick.
Hardpoint.
I'm not. It was just recorded, and
Secure the objectives.
at all. So, and
Hardpoint
Elgato
identified.
records it. You can only. I didn't want to.
Hardpoint locked down.
Anyways, guys.
We've taken
So
control.
what I'm here to. And I know everyone may be
Hardpoint contested.
very good.
Hardpoint
COD
contested.
growing rapidly. In all reality,
We're losing
in
this
reality,
fight.
we are being trapped inside. Money. Call of Duty as a community frowned upon to every other community. However, the main thing I just. So, what is the
Hardpoint identified.
reality? The flaw in it.
Hardpoint contested.
Wanting to get like LOL.
Hardpoint contested.
Fan base is over. Streams are over 300,000 views. Just like that. See what LOL is doing right, and then discuss what we. Now, the first major flaw. In all aspects. And the question is, why is this? I mean, we all know that Call of Duty has a major issue when it comes to connection-based gunfights and such. But at the end of the day, players get zero credibility when it comes to online gameplay. And that comes with pros' egos, essentially. Pros aren't accepting of new people. They like to be where they are. They know that they are in a good situation with their full ride sponsorships and such. So when they play against players online, everyone views it as being worth nothing. No one views it as being anything besides practice. And I completely agree with the idea that online is viewed as more practice. However, regardless, you still win money online. It is still important to be good online. And regardless of whether or not someone outconnects you or something, at the end of the day, if someone beats you, they beat you. And that's just something that does not process with competitive Call of Duty players as a result of them having giant egos, essentially, of them not being accepted. And I mean, it's a long, drawn-out process that has been like this ever since MW2. Back to Black Ops 1, MW3. It's the same exact thing where players will never get credibility online, and it's because of what people think is just a flawed connection base, but really it's just people's lack of acceptance for people in online gameplay. For example, as you guys probably know, Team Beatty, that one that recently went to UMG Philly, and I believe they placed top 16, yeah, top 16 when they had a champ seed bracket, placing because of online tournaments. Everyone thought that they were going to be awful on LAN. They ended up beating Curse New York, and as a result, like I said, it just goes to show you that LAN and online don't differ so much. All right. So now that I pointed out that major flaw being that players are just too connected with one another. They essentially do not like spreading who they know. Pro players do not enjoy opening up their circle of friends, their close-knit circle of friends. So I'm talking about pros that have been here since COD 4, pros that have been here since MW2 and such. They just do not like opening up the house. You have to earn it, in their opinion. And when they think of earning is beating them on LAN. They don't think beating them on a scrim or a tournament is anything online. It all comes down to beating them on LAN, which is another major flawed part when it comes to MLG, okay? Another flawed part being the LAN system in general, okay? You have people who cannot earn pro status, or they cannot earn respect in this community and try to make it somewhere unless they have $500 to $600 to $700 to spend on a LAN that randomly pops up. There is no organization with MLG. They have absolutely no organization when it comes to notifying players of when LANs will be. For example, UMG Columbus, or I meant MLG Columbus was given an advance, but all these random invitationals that appeared back in Black Ops 1. If you guys didn't know, if you guys weren't a part of the community, everything was planned out from the start of the year. They didn't give you any intel like they did at MLG Columbus, saying that in 7 months they're gonna have another LAN. No one wants to wait 7 months to play another LAN. In Black Ops 1, there was six LANs, I think, including nationals, that were completely organized so people could book in advance. The reason for that is it's saving players money. If you, MLG Columbus was around the time of it was the week after Thanksgiving, I believe. Actually, the week before Thanksgiving is on November 23rd. Obviously, that's going to be an expensive traveling trip. I ended up paying $500 to go to MLG Columbus. And of course, I had fun and such, but that system is flawed. MLG needs to notify their players in advance, have a more organized system so we don't fall apart when it comes to booking LANs. And of course, pro players aren't going to complain. Like I said, all MLG is doing is they're catering to the pros. They're not thinking about the amateur players out there who are trying to get to that next level at all. They're not thinking about them. And like I said, this is going to take me to the most annoying part of the MLG system, the most flawed system, being the pro point system. Pro points are essentially, it's invisible money. Pro points are literally giving you spots on teams now, and it's just a shame. The best players are not playing because of pro points. And like I said, I know like there's a lot of issues. Like people could say, "Oh, I made it to a 2K or I got to the finals of a 2K because I'm the best." When in reality, some players just don't get the opportunity that others do. And as a result, like for example, someone could do every pro point series tournament in a week, probably spend around $100, but have around 10,000 pro points by now, and that's just a flawed system. That's with them getting first routed. Someone could have spent right now probably $1,000 to have 10,000 pro points, and that is such a big benefit. For me, going into MLG Columbus, I had no idea that one 5K before the tournament was gonna dictate who had what seed. As a result, we got screwed over in the bracket. And like I said, I mean, the team that beat us obviously was a better team. I'm not going to deny that. However, the system is wrong in that aspect. We already have players spending $500 to $600 going to LANs and then having to play an extra $50 or extra $35 each to play in an online tournament before to try to help their seed. That's completely wrong, in my opinion. That is just unacceptable. So now I'm going to talk about what MLG is not doing. Okay, why is MLG not being successful? And I know many people are going to be looking like MLG successful. All the people with MLG partnerships have a lot of money and such. But the thing is that I'm talking about successful like LOL. Why can't COD get to the way LOL or StarCraft 2 was at? Even through the MLG aspect. And what it really comes down to is a lack of support by MLG. MLG is offering us LANs, and that's basically it. They're nickel and diming us out of every sort of all the money we could possibly have. With all these 2Ks, 5Ks, whatever it is, 250 pro point series, the pro point system is running us dry. And this is why it is so wrong, the system we have. Which is the main reason, my suggestion here, being to look at other sports. Every other super sport out there. I'm talking about from UFC all the way to the NFL. What do they have that we don't have? And if you really look at it, even look at LOL. What do we have, or what don't we have? We don't have any organization. What do I mean by organization? I'm talking about companies being involved with pro player rosters. We are giving, essentially, these organizations are giving people free money to travel to events. These pro player cliques, they're giving them all the money to go to events. And who are they picking up? They're picking up other former pro players. And I know everyone might say, hey, you know, they were pro players. They're obviously going to be good at the game. And I don't deny that. They're going to be good at the game. However, it prevents growth from amateur players. Amateur players have to literally grind out this game to try to make something of it. And that is just wrong. So it's essentially, and I know everyone's looking at like, oh, everyone went through it. But it's not true. Not everyone went through that. Back in MW3 or COD 4 at the beginning, people didn't really necessarily, it wasn't a necessity to play for 12 hours a day to be the best. The community was so much smaller. You played against the same people consistently. I mean, especially with all these young players and school schedules and such, it's literally taking away lives. And I know, like I said, people try to look at this as a job, but it's nowhere near a job. Do you see? I mean, an NFL player, they spend a majority of their time in the gym working out, concentrating for something, but that's because they're getting paid millions of dollars. Some players aren't even getting paid a salary, but they're grinding it out, and it's just honestly sad. And it all comes with a lack of organization.
Hardpoint contested.
What I'm essentially proposing is I'm proposing a way, and by the way, I'm gonna add another gameplay onto this because, like I said, I'm sorry the commentary is running a little late, but what I'm proposing is I'm proposing a I mean, MLG stands for Major League Gaming. If MLG or Major League Gaming stood for an actual like National Football League or National Basketball Association, it would have the organization. What I'm talking about organization is there are owners of teams. There is a league president. There's individual general management involved in every team. And like I said, that general management is involved they're the sole ones who control the roster. What I mean by that is that players can't decide who they team with. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, chemistry is such a big aspect in Call of Duty. But the thing is that it's this whole click thing in Call of Duty is preventing growth. And I've been here since Black Ops 1. I've been watching it forever. And literally, from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2, that's when the major change happened. In Black Ops 2, a lot of pros, young players started to emerge. And as a result, I mean, you just saw all the old pros stick together. That's all they did. All they did was stick together, and they would just pick each other up, give each other the best opportunity, and it's wrong. I want to look at Optic now. Okay, Big Timer and Rambo finally have seen that they're not at they're not at a level to compete anymore, and finally it took them to see this, and that's with all these young amateur players or all these young pros emerging. And I mean, these are players that have been literally. They're like, look at Methods. Methods has been in the community for a very long time right now. He really got known in MW3 with that, but look how he got known in MW3. He got known from Nade Shot going to a LAN with him. Granted, that was Methods who earned that. However, I'm saying these older veteran players have too much say so in this community, and that's where the fault is. If we can somehow give organizations the sole purpose of their rosters and make them all be contracted, hold a trade deadline that like it is in other sports, have a draft as well at the beginning of a game, it could actually grow into something. You won't see as much sketching when people are contracted and they can't leave at any random time. And I know this may sound stupid, but it's what's going to have to happen. There's going to have to be a league for younger players and a league for players over 18. I'm sorry, no professional sport has players that are younger than 18, and the reason for that is because the maturity level. Under 18 players are not at the same maturity as people at 18 or above. And like I said, the people at 18 are some are not even mature at all. Some 16-year-olds are more mature than some 18-year-olds. But the thing is that they are legally bounded by these contracts once you turn 18. From a business sense, that's the most important thing, is that people cannot just walk away from these contracts and sketch and whatnot. It provides some steadiness, and it provides opportunity for franchises to grow. What do sports do? Look at RG3. Look at Andrew Luck. All of them have franchise players that they build upon, and they market it. And when that happens, it leads to growth of a team. That's exactly what happens, which is why we need to have this growth. We need to have people together and contracts that stick together. Optic, the reason why Optic grew so much was because look how long their roster lasted. Okay, they had a total of 2 roster changes between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. In between Black Ops 1, MW3, and Black Ops 2, they had only a total of 2 roster changes. In Ghost alone, they've had at least 5 different drops, I think, and such. And as a result, it's taking away from credibility. Optic fans are getting sick of it because they don't know who to follow anymore. It's getting too confusing. And if we were to implement a draft system, like I said, at the beginning of an FPS game, this would have to be a complete start. And I'm talking about all connections, all clicks would have to be dropped. That's why it would have to start at the beginning of a new FPS game such as Titanfall. There would have to be all connections dropped, and essentially business, like for example, a team would be Optic, a team would be Envy, or an organization with a management who runs the entire roster. They run contracts and such. Optic, Envy, TK, Complexity, all different organizations that could be teams. under the system. The difference being that they have a general set of guidelines and rules that they have to follow, and their players must follow as well. Have a more strict basis on these players. Do not let them run around like a bunch of children. That's just wrong. I mean, it's not providing growth. Look at LOL, for example. When someone makes a team change in LOL, it's generally for the better. It happens because of they're the best player to fill in the position, and they have the best opportunity. Okay, that's why you see LOL rosters stick together a lot. I mean, I know a lot of times there's team changes after major events. Obviously, it's going to happen in every sport. After every major event, there's going to be a change to try to better out your team. But in Call of Duty, it doesn't come down to that. Players pick their friends. They don't pick the best skilled player. They don't even give the best skilled player an opportunity. And that is what's wrong with this community. So, like I said, back to the system organization. I know this commentary is running on long. I should have divided it into two. However, I just need to finish it all now. So back to the organization system. I'm talking about hosting a LAN at the beginning of a new FPS game. I'm talking about removing all owners that have connections in this community right now. Hex would be removed. Chaos Silencer would be removed. Like I said, all team owners there are now who are gonna just pick off biased players essentially need to be removed. And instead, there needs to be complete third-party people. There needs to be scouts, and what I'm assuming should happen is that there needs to be a LAN, just one tryout LAN, and actually two in an entire year. Okay, one tryout LAN in the summer and one tryout LAN in the winter. So in one part of the country, players can go and they can try out for teams. Like it's kind of like an open tryout. For example, like you're trying out for the U.S. Olympic team, it's an open tryout. It's where the coaches decide who is the best placed off skill and who is the best who works together. So have an open tryout. Everyone goes there. They pick what they do. Whether it's, for example, if it was COD Pro Mod back in MW Modern Warfare, as you guys can tell, there was 2 ARs allowed, 1 submachine gun player, and 1 sniper that had to be done. So that's what I'm talking about right there. Is the idea of having players go in there, selecting what their role is. The scouts then are gonna match them up, or the people involved in organizing the open invitational, or not the open invitation, not an invitational, excuse me, the open tryout, and they tell the people, or they match people up together. And I know a lot of people are going to say Call of Duty is a game of chemistry. This is why I'm supposing it happens in a third-party FPS game. I mean, Call of Duty, it still could work. If you have a bunch of pickup teams playing together, none former teammates, it's going to result in seeing who is the most skilled. And I know you might say that there's going to be a giant skill gap in between that, but that's why it's at the beginning of a game. Well, at the beginning of a game, that's when you can see what happens. And another reason I want to have 2 tryouts is because the second tryout can be in the middle of the game to where people can add other players, owners can add other players, like potential players, to their rosters as a secondary team, which is another important aspect, okay? So along with these owners owning a pro team, they would be responsible for having an amateur team. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow for a lot of growth. And I know a lot of people are going to say there's too many amateurs to have like 20 or so teams own an amateur team. But in reality, what's going to end up happening is players are going to grind out, and then there's going to be controlled LANs. There's going to be organized LANs where they're going to have open bracket between amateur players and between all amateur players. So the pro players are going to be in a bracket all by themselves. And once an owner sees that a player is ready to make it to the next level, they're going to put their player up to the next level to benefit their team. Thus, the most skilled player is going to be the one to go. So it's essentially focusing on there being the most skilled players going rather than having the most connected players going. And that's my main point here, is that this community is too connected. We need to separate, and we need to establish that the best players are going to make it to the top. And there's just so many players I know who aren't even close to getting there because they cannot get an opportunity. We should not have to dick ride other individuals in a sport, or what we call a quote-unquote sport, to try to make it to the top. Did you see Michael Jordan deriding someone? No. He got there off his own talent. Did you see LeBron James deriding someone? No. He got there off his own talent. Alright, guys, I know it was a long commentary. I hope I covered everything. I hope I did. I really do. If you guys watched it all, I really appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys could leave a like, comment, rate. And if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel, I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy your nights. Thank you. This has been Nick.